Okay, son. So what I decided to do was for art tips and stuff would just be to start putting them on a video, then putting them up on YouTube, so that you can go back to them as much as possible, refresh your mind on the ideas of art, and there we go. All right. So one of the things to consider with art is shadows and shades and shading. And so to keep it like really simple, one of the things to consider whenever you're drawing an object and you're trying to see how light's going to affect it is the angle of the shadow that's going to be cast by that object. So trying to keep things super simple, let's go ahead and make ourselves a sun. So this is going to be ugly looking sun. Let's try it like this. It's a little bit better. It's a little bit better. Okay, so that's our sun. Our sun is coming from this direction, right there. And so it's casting its light. And so without thinking too far into it, basically that light is going in that direction. Wow, that color is not very dark. Alright, it's going in that direction, right? Okay, so to try to keep things really simple, what we're going to do is going to draw ourselves a sidewalk. So here's a sidewalk right here. And to really indicate how this is a sidewalk, we'll put little lines here and there, just like they do in real concrete. Okay, boom. Alright, and then what we'll do is we'll put a trash can somewhere. So we're going to put a trash can right here. Here's a trash can. Now all of this is the angles are really simple. We're trying to think about this in a very simple way. I've turned the sidewalk really far forward, but it's just to try to give an idea of start to think about shadows. One of the things we're going to want to do to emphasize that we're in a 3D world and not a 2D world is we're going to turn this trash can into a 3D trash can. And the way that I would do that is I'm going to extend depth to that trash can. And I can do it in whatever direction I want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make just a little line like this off at an angle. So not straight off to the side, but at an angle. And I'm going to try to do that same angle right here at that corner. And then at this corner. And what this is going to do is give a feeling to the person looking that it goes further backwards. And so the way I complete that is I draw a parallel line to the one I have here to connect that one, parallel line to that one, and then boom, you got an indication. Something looks like a lunch sack or something that maybe in this area right there, maybe something could go inside of it. And so that's how we're going to flesh that out, make that more of a 3D trash can. To help it to stand out from the rest of the background, we're going to give it a little bit of color, and we're going to shade in this side, shade in that side, and then this one we're going to actually make it a little bit lighter. And the reason I'm going to do that is to give the sense that the sunlight is going inside of the trash can, and the reflection of the light off of the metal is being cast up. So it's not going to be as bright as the sidewalk, but it's not going to be as dark as these two sides of the trash can that we can see, because these two sides of the trash can aren't being hit by the light. That's what we're trying to indicate. But the inside of the trash can is. So we're going to go for just a little bit of a brighter gray, and we're going to fill in that area. So it's still dark a little bit because the light's not hitting it directly, but it's not as dark as the back sides that aren't getting the light, because it actually is getting a little bit of light, but it's a light that's bouncing around inside of the trash can and reflecting out, and so giving it a lighter color. So to complete this picture of giving it a sense of being in a 3D world and not a 2D world, is it needs a shadow. And so if we're imagining that the sunlight is coming in from this top left corner and going down at it, then the shadow that's being cast is going to go in that same direction. And so we're going to go with a little bit of a darker here. So we're going to start at this corner, because the sunlight's right now, what it's doing in our imagination, it's hitting this side of the trash can on the left that we can't see, and then on the other side, the opposite side, that we can't see either. And it's getting, the shadow's going to be cast in the same direction that the sun is going. And so if that's true, then what we're going to do is we're going to start a shadow going this way. And this is going to mimic the line here, this line. Now, where the sun is going to decide how far the shadow is going to be, but we're just going to try to keep it simple. So that's going to cover this line here. Now we're going to need the shadow to be for this top part of the trash can. So we're going to go out this way. Then you got that little bit of a line right here. So we're going to go like that a little bit. And then now the shadow is going to come back down. And we're going to connect it to the bottom of the trash can like this. And that's, in general, you know, like these aren't exact straight lines or whatever. But that'll only add to the sense of wonderment of what we're actually trying to do here. Now let's fill in the shadow. Let's complete the line of this shadow in here, like this. Okay. Now one thing we can do, because again we're in a 3D world, and so okay, no, that would be more for more advanced type stuff. We're gonna try to just keep things really simple right now, and I guess what we can do to try to give it more sense of reality is it wouldn't curve like that. It would be more straight. This does curve a little bit because of that part, but anyways, that's a shadow. So you got the sun on this side, shadow's going that way. Depending on how dark the shadow is how bright the sun is. As the sun sets, the brightness of the sun is not as apparent, and so then the shadow will lose a little bit of its darkness. But we're saying it's like, you know, in the sky, bright and shiny, so that's going to be a dark shadow. That makes sense. It's generally away from the direction that the sun rays are going. And so this is one way to help give depth to your drawing and make it feel like we're in a 3D world, to give people a sense that this object isn't flat, but it's actually very full. Now, one thing that I hadn't considered while I was doing this is keep in mind, look at the drawing that's on the screen right now. What is your eye is focusing on the trash can, and especially the shadow, because it's very dark, it's very black. What is being pushed to the background is the sidewalk, you see. So the darker that you make the lines of your drawing is going to catch the person's vision first, their sight first, and the things that are lighter in the background are going to be pushed more back. They're not going to notice it as easy, and so visually the brain actually causes the lighter things to be pushed to the foreground or the back part, and it pushes the things that are more darker, easier to catch in your eyes, pushes them forward in your mind's eye. Similar to the sun, if you look at the sun, it's kind of blended. It's hard to see detail, it's hard to see exactness like the trash can. We're seeing very fine exactness to the lines, but the sun is kind of blended. But the arrow is darker, so it actually feels feels like the arrow is closer to me and the sun is farther away from me. So that's another way to play with the effects of bringing something forward and pushing something backwards, or making something to grab someone's attention and then try to push other things to take it away from their focus, but still filling in some of the background. So that was a very simple technique on shadows and what to pay attention on shadows, and then we discussed some more advanced techniques of, not super advanced, right, but more advanced, of how to push things forward, push things backwards, make things to where the person will focus on it and to where they would lose focus on it. So just quick little thing. I plan to do this more often so that I could give you more tips and tricks, and comment below for ideas that you might want me to explore with you. And son, I love you.